This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, hello guys, good morning.
Good morning.
Very good
Good
morning.
morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. One moment, guys. I'm just getting the slides. So, how are you all?
Hey, good. How about you?
Doing good too. Thank you. So, guys, I think like the initial sessions would be mostly on Linux. I think it is good to understand. So, my approach is like this. So, before even we talk about DevOps now, we need to have the a playground for all of us to work with and then to do our practicals, isn't it? That's more important. So what we are going to do is that we will go ahead and understand the AWS infrastructure first, because whatever we do in DevOps now, we will be doing it in AWS. And then after that, we will have our accounts created, which is AWS accounts, which is free tier accounts. And once you have that, we will discuss about a service called EC2, and we will create our own virtual machines. Once we have our virtual machines created, the next thing is to discuss about Linux. And from here, the actual thing gets started. After Linux, we will talk about the DevOps services. How is it? Sounds good?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So that, because if I start showing you or talking about Linux now, you don't know where to create your instances. You don't know how to get started and all. So I think this is best way to get started so that you will be comfortable in creation of your own accounts and then instances, and then you can start practicing your own things. Yep. Okay. So before I get the slides of AWS thing, I just covered this for the new AWS session. I'm going to repeat the same thing, by the way. Now, anyone has any questions, guys, before we start? So silence, no questions. Okay.
And no.
Okay, fine. So let's get started, guys. So could someone tell me what is AWS, by the way? Like, what is AWS from your perspective, or from your point of view?
So in AWS, basically, we are not depending on the physical hardware. We are we are maintaining our all the uh, needs which software needs, like memory and the kind of storage. All things are on the cloud. We can use that. Different virtual machines we can use. We can
Mm,
install machines. We can create our own infrastructure on that, and we are not relying on the, and it is scalable. Pay as you go is the the motto of this, as it is basically scalable. So this
mm-hmm.
is what.
It's a web services, and it's like a cloud which we can use that one from anywhere.
Okay. Yes. All of these are valid, I guess. Okay. All of these are valid. So let me give you my insights on this. So basically, for everything that we do, right? Uh, Let me get a blank paper and let me take black. Yep. See, the ultimate goal for us when we are working for the organization is to have our application, isn't it? Make sure this application, no matter what application, we everybody in the organization works towards making sure this application is up and running. Like this is what we see as the end product of our service, right? So in order for this application to run, we need components like operating system. Application doesn't run by itself, right? It needs an operating system. And in order for the operating system to run, what do we need? Hardware. So when we say hardware, I'm talking about RAM, CPU, network, and disk. And it's for one application. What if I have second application? The story is the same. Depending on the number of applications, you need to get this. So this RAM, CPU, network, and disk varies from application to application, the amount of RAM that we use, right? So usually if you have to buy a laptop, by the way, so depending on your needs you choose one, right? Like if you have a brother or if you are buying it to some of your relatives, depending on their needs, if they are school going, you try to give them some good laptop which has good graphical intensive things and all. Or if you're giving it to some of your uncles and all, if they are managers, you always, so they think from the perspective of traveling. So we take a different laptop like notebooks and all. That means my point of telling this is that depending on the need of the requirement, whatever the requirement is, we are going to choose that specific kind of hardware to support that specific requirement. In the same way, depending on the applications, the resource consumptions also will vary. Some application need only 4 GB of memory and some may need 200 GB of memory. Some may need a normal storage, but some may need only IOPS disk. So depending on the requirement, we are supposed to buy the hardware. Okay. And after that, where are we going to put in order to run this hardware? Like this is something that we not, but we need what? Power. We need cooling solutions. We need physical security. We need manpower to maintain this, right? And all of these are available in one centralized location. What is that location called as?
Data
Guys,
center
yep, they
or
are called as data centers, right? So like the reason why I'm telling all this is that earlier we used to talk about on-prem data centers. On-prem in the sense they are available on premise within your office campus. They have a dedicated room which they call it as a data centers, which has dual power supplies, dual networking, dual monitoring systems. Everything is dual because at any point of time if one goes down they still have the other in place. Okay. And that's how things work here. So before the concept of cloud, if anyone wants to run the application, this was the scenario, guys, where they need to first plan or design their hardware and then they acquire the licenses and then they build the applications, and it is their headache or it's their uh, thing to maintain this entire infrastructure. In spite of spending millions and billions of dollars, it's an extra headache for every organization whoever is maintaining their own data centers, because failures are on top of their head, security is on top of their head, maintenance is on top of their head, failures are on top of their head. At any point of time they are answerable to their clients in terms of failures. So that's where Amazon came into the market saying that, hey boss, let us take that headache. Okay, let us take all the burden that you have of maintaining your own infrastructure. You don't have to worry about maintenances, you don't have to worry about failures, you don't have to worry about manpower. Okay, we will take care of it. All you have to do is that pay for what you are consuming from us. Okay, now whatever I told you now is all maintained by AWS. Not only AWS, whoever the cloud service provider is, be it Azure, GCP, or anyone. So now AWS comes out and says that, hey, I will maintain the data center. Okay, you need to run your application, right? Okay, tell me how many instances of application you need. Maybe 10 instances. Okay, now each instance you pay me $1 for using it, and 10 instances $10. But okay, I know you are my client, you don't have to pay $10 because you're running 10 instances. I'll give you at a price of $7 now. That means they are giving you discount as well, by the way. So now as a client, I am free from the initial investment that I have to do. I am free from worrying about maintenance, updates, patching, high availability. I have just cut short all of those overburden on top of my head, and all I will concentrate is only on building and making my application robust. Understood, guys? Understood the whole point of cloud now? So when we say cloud, we are just cutting short that overburden of investing money, buying the hardware, and then putting them in one centralized location, maintaining it, monitoring it, giving physical security. We are giving all of this overburden to someone who is offering this service, which is who is AWS in our case now. Okay, they are Amazon Web Services, and the vendor, the owner is Amazon. Amazon is the vendor, and their solution for cloud is Amazon Web Services. In the same way, we have Microsoft. Microsoft is a vendor, and their product is Azure. We have Google, and their product for cloud is GCP. Like this. Okay, these are their cloud solutions. That is what AWS, guys. So AWS offers us all of this infrastructure where you don't have to initially pay anything. Now, this session is all about understanding their physical infrastructure, how Amazon has set up their physical infrastructure, how are they giving us redundancy, is what we are going to discuss, guys. Any questions?
No,
No.
I'm good.
No
Okay.
question, sir.
Yep. So Amazon's infrastructure is divided into three main categories, right? Three main things. One is regions, availability zones, and edge locations, guys. Okay. So region, what does the name say region? Like I belong to Asia Pacific, some might be coming from, Europe, US, Australia. So these are all regions, isn't it? So Amazon has around 18 plus regions across the globe. There are 18 plus. And each region, there are availability zones, minimum 2. And edge locations are kind of a cache sites spread across the globe. Okay, so let us understand each of them individually now. Okay, guys, let's say region, right? Mumbai, India is a region, like I said. Singapore is a region. North Virginia is a region. California is a region. Frankfurt is a region. Sydney is a region. So like this, Amazon has around 18 plus regions. Why should Amazon have so many regions spread across the globe, guys? What is the reason behind it? What do you think?
I think to provide because these will be nearby locations to access the data center.
Exactly. So let's say My clients are based out of India. I have every single client of mine is accessing applications from India. And does that make sense for me to put my infrastructure in US, guys?
Oh, yes.
Even if I do, what happens?
Speed will be reduced
Latency,
and
right?
yeah.
Latency. So they have to request something which is available hundreds and thousands of miles away, and the response has to come back. They have to uh, like reach out to different hops to get into my things. So I would recommend, like, why should I do that extra burden of accessing it all? Let's have it in India only, right? Vice versa. And I have clients based out of Australia. And why should I put their data or their application in other region? Again, that's an extra overburden for us to access, and then latency and all. So regions will help clients to choose the nearest data center for them to host their data, so that they could reduce the latency, guys. Understood?
Okay.
Okay. That's one of the reason. And what is the other reason, guys? What do you think there are other possible reasons for this? One is to reduce latency. That's for sure. What could be the other reasons that you see here?
So to sustain fault tolerance, like if fault tolerance happen in one region, the other region could support it, the nearby
Mm,
region.
disaster recovery. That means yes. My
Redundancy.
Indian site is down. Mumbai is down. Maybe the nearest site is Singapore, or Singapore is down. The nearest site is Mumbai. Okay.
Yep.
Yes. Disaster
Yep.
recovery. That's one possibility. Yep. What else?
In the scenario of migration, when we are migrating something on the one, so other can be as a backup and redundant data center.
Okay. You mean to say the backup data center, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, all of these are valid, guys. Okay. These are the concepts behind having so many regions. And yes, okay. And region is just a geographic location, guys. Okay. So we have a physical existence, and say when someone calls me now, hey, where am I? I just say I'm in, maybe, a Begumpet or Panjagutta. I mean, places in Hyderabad, by the way, guys. Or if someone calls you, you may say that, okay, hey, I'm in US now, coming back to India later this week. You tell them. But when we go one step further and ask you, hey, I'm also in Hyderabad now, where are you? Oh, if you're in Hyderabad, okay, I'm in Amirpet now, or I'm in Begumpet. Okay, I'm also in Begumpet. Where are you? Hey, I'm in my home. That means my point of telling you this example is that, see, region will tell you your global existence. Okay, hey, man, when you look at a bigger picture now, region will tell you, okay, this is where I belong to. But where I'm actually sitting now, where I'm actually talking now, where I'm actually residing is where your physical existence, isn't it, guys? So the ultimate thing for an application, in order for the application to run, we need a hardware. Now, where is this hardware now? This hardware will be in the availability zone. Get my point? So region is just a geographic location for us to understand. If you are looking at a global picture, where are you now? Where am I hosting my infrastructure? I'm hosting my infrastructure in Mumbai region. Oh, that's good. But within Mumbai, where is your data now? Is it in availability zone 1A or 1B or 1C? We need to decide that. So in each region, there are minimum 2 availability zones. Each availability zone can be considered as a data center here. Data center 1, data center 2, guys. Understood? And why 2? Why do you think there are 2 data centers?
For backup,
Backup. Okay. Could be the reason.
So
What
to
else?
provide high speed,
Disaster recovery.
HANFT. HANFT. See, disaster recovery talks about a lot of things, guys. Okay. Disaster recovery is not the right term to use though, but yes, the whole
Availability.
idea is that means failure of one availability zone should not impact our services, right? So that's the reason we have two, which means these two are not identical, but they may seem to be identical, but they're completely isolated, which means failure of one availability zone will not impact the services running in the another availability zone. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yep, that's the whole point here. So when we are building our own applications, it is always a good idea to scatter your applications across availability zones so that in the event of outages or failures, failure of the availability zone will not impact your applications or availability of your applications. Got it?
Yes, got it.
Yep, that's the whole idea, guys.
Yes.
So regions, AWS is made up of regions which are grouping of independently separated data centers in a specific region known as availability zones. Availability of regions allows the architect like us to design applications to conform to specific laws and regulations. So the other reason of having multiple regions is to meet local laws, government laws. Like India has their own Indian standards, Europe has Europe standards, Australia might be having their own standards, right? Like everybody has their own standards. In order to meet up to the standards, like US cannot impose US standards across the globe. So they need to meet, like it's like, hey, if you want to start your business in India, you are supposed to follow the US standards. So that will help Amazon meet the local regulation policies available for running their business and helping the clients as well. Okay, that's one of the reason of having regions. So when viewing a region in the console is like where we get to see our resources. We will only view resources in one region at a time, but they will be across all AZs within the region. So from the console point of view, you will be able, I told you there are 18 plus regions, by the way. Okay, so you won't be able to see all the 18 plus region resources in one single console. If you want to look into Mumbai region resources, you will have to be in the Mumbai region. If you want to see North Virginia, you are supposed to shift your region from Mumbai to North Virginia to see North Virginia region. That's how it will work. And see this global infrastructure, a simple footprint for you to understand their availability of regions and availability zones. The orange circles that you see are well established regions, and inside that, the numbers inside them are availability zones: 4, 2, 3, 6. Like wherever you see 3, there are 3 availability zones. Wherever you see 2, there are 2 availability zones. And the blue circles that you see are new regions that are planned by Amazon. Now they are available, I think. Like this is an old picture, but this footprint always changes. But this is just for you to have the idea of how the regions are spread. Any questions here, guys, so far?
No.
Others? All good?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Now, availability zones. Availability zones work together in a region to make up collection of your AWS resources. Like in each region, like the number that I just shown you in the previous slide, has a minimum of 2 availability zones. Reason is failure of one availability zone will not impact the services in the other availability zone. So we as an architects, whenever we are building our own infrastructure, it is always a best idea to scatter our infrastructure across availability zones, guys. Okay, so properly designed application will utilize multiple availability zone for fault tolerance and failover. And this AZs are like they are within the same region. Like as example, Mumbai is one of the region that we have. Within Mumbai, there are 3 availability zones. So this is how they look like. If you take the outer box as a region, availability zone 1A, availability zone 1B, and 1C. So they are completely isolated, which means failure of one availability zone will not impact the services running in the other availability zones. But internally, these 3 are connected. So when you are deploying your applications here, here, and here on 3 different availability zones, they get to talk to each other directly without any delay in latency. Like there won't be any latency at all. They talk as if they are just sitting side by side without any latency. That's how these things will be. And failures will not impact the services running in the other because they are completely isolated from each other. So one availability zone can be a combination of multiple data centers as well, guys. So depending on the client base requirements and all, but as a end users, we never get to know how many data centers are combined to create one availability zones. And there are situations as well where let's say now there are 2 here, 1A and 1B, and you're trying to create a which instances, and Amazon might tell you that hey, 1B is out of resources. If you still want to provision instance, do it on 1A. Like there are high chances that the availability zones might also be out of resources at some point of time. So we need to look into those circumstances as well. So this is how the global regions and availability zones, guys. And apart from this, they also have the concept called edge locations. Have you heard about content delivery networks before, guys? Content delivery networks, like nowadays we are all accessing Netflix, we access our YouTubes, right? Prime videos. We're accessing all of this, and we don't have to worry about latency, right? We just wherever you are, you have internet connection, you are able to access them without any delay. But do you think the content that we are accessing is available all across the globe? Like in our case, if I go back, let's say you're running a website, guys. Like you're running a website out of Mumbai, and people are accessing from here, and they say that there is a latency. What are you going to do? Are you going to build a website here as well? Here, like wherever you have because you have clients all across the globe. Do you think this is how we do it? Ideally, this is the solution, right?
Mhm.
Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes. But if I'm doing that, what is happening? My cost doubles up every time I create a new infrastructure in other availability zones. The whole idea is to reduce the latency, right? And moreover, is to reduce the latency, the option that I can see as of now is have use multiple regions. Okay, I can still use multiple regions. I know I'm ending up paying more money. That's also fine with me. But how about the consistency of data now? Any changes that you do in Mumbai should be available in North Virginia, should be available in Africa, should be available in Sydney, right? This consistency becomes a bigger challenge now, leaving money aside. So why should I do that? That is where we rely. And we have YouTubes, like YouTube, it's maintained by Google, by the way. And do you think Google is maintaining the data all across the globe, across all the data centers? Not really. They have only one copy of the data, but that one copy of data is cached to all the locations across the globe. To which locations are they doing? to these content delivery networks.
When we say what is the difference between the cache and the copying?
Cache is a copy of it where it's a kind of, what should I say? See, you have your, let's a simple example. You have a file in your local laptop. You opened it, right? And you're writing data into it. You haven't saved it. Where is that now? That is running on cache, which is your memory. Get my point?
Yeah, it's a clipboard. Yep, yep. On the
So when you
memory.
copy it, like you're copying from maybe C drive to D drive, where you have two copies.
Okay.
Okay, that's the difference between copying and cache. Cache is like a copy of it is maintained there, and next time when you open it, it opens up. Like you access any new website, a copy of it is maintained in your cookies or in your browser. A link is maintained, and next time when you click on it, the connection is faster because it's already available in cache. So cache is like kind of a copy of it uh, will run there, so that the next time when you access it, it's faster enough for you to get the data. So when we talk about these edge locations are cache sites. They are like data centers only. Okay, they have physical resources, storage, servers, everything is in place, and but a copy of data is maintained, which is like, let me go back to the picture again. This picture, like I have my website here, which is running in Mumbai, and I have a data ABC. Okay, and availability zones are different, the edge locations are different. Maybe I have edge location here, 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 like all the red circles that I'm drawing, or let's imagine them as edge locations. So when I'm using this CDN network, and if I'm saying that, hey, now my data should be available across all the edge locations across the globe, my data ABC, when people are accessing from here, the request will go to this one. When people are accessing here, the request will go to this. When people are accessing from here, the request will go to this, this, and this. And by default, my data will be available in all of these edge locations, ABC. Got it? So I'm not using the availability zones, rather I'm using my edge locations. Otherwise, we call them point of presence, POP. That is what Amazon does. And coming back to this picture, see all of this. In India, we have it in New Delhi, we have it in Chennai. Okay, like they're across the globe. If I'm using Mumbai as a region for hosting my physical data, and a copy, a cache of that data will be across these edge locations. When people are accessing from this Africa, America, and all, they will be reaching out their request to these edge locations. In that case, there won't be any delay or there won't be any latency in accessing this data, guys. And again, here the blue ones are well established ones which are available, and the orange ones that you see are planned ones. An edge location is where end users access services located at AWS. They're located in most of the major cities around the world and are specially used by CloudFront. CloudFront is Amazon service which helps in distributing content to end users to reduce latency. It it is like a front end for services we can access which are located in AWS cloud. Got it? Any questions here, guys? So this is how the Amazon infrastructure is designed. Like we have regions, availability zones, and edge locations. So content delivery, these edge locations are used mostly by websites, or if you are using any sites which hosts your videos, your content like Prime videos and all, then this is a solution that we use, by the way.
So when we talk about cache, so suppose I'm running my website and I made a change. So the copy of that change will be reflecting to all the edge locations. I mean, they are dumping somewhere or they are
Yes,
copying
that's
it.
the whole
Yeah.
idea now. If you are doing any changes, yes, they get replicated to all these things.
Okay, okay, yeah.
So the cache and the edge locations are are basically dynamic, like they can change over time based on the content the users are accessing.
Yes, it changes.
Okay,
In
so it's
first
not
Because
place,
static.
no. In first place, you decide what data to be available across. If you are the owner of the data, in the very first place, it's you who is going to choose what kind of data you want to be shared across the entire CDN network, that is edge locations. Okay, and maybe you shared it, but people are not accessing it. When you don't access it, the data is not cached, right? Next time when they request, like they are requesting from a new location, like in the edge location that is available near them, the data is not available. In that case, whatever the data that they're requesting, the request will come all the way back to your actual origin, and it
Mhm.
maintains a cache in the nearest edge sites.
Okay, yeah,
Got it?
yes.
So let us
Yes.
see all of this what we discussed. Amazon has recently came up with a beautiful website. Let me show you that. Infrastructure.aws. See guys, it's interactive globe, by the way. Whatever you see here now, see origin, California. They also have Gov clouds. Gov clouds are specially designed for running government applications. Only the government organizations will have access to this. You can see regions are orange, regions coming up are in green, availability zones are blue. Okay, and POP, point of presence. In India, if you can see, these are three. The three that you see here are the availability zones, and the pink one that you see are our edge locations. Okay, we have it in Bahrain and all. Let us get this horizontal picture. See, they have cables running over even oceans, interconnection between these things. Okay, these are the regions, like they give you what regions are, and availability zones. Your customer ability to operate production applications and databases that are most highly available, fault tolerant, and scalable. Each availability zone can be multiple data centers, and at full scale can be hundreds of thousands of servers. They are fully isolated, protected of the AWS Global Infrastructure within their own property infrastructure, power infrastructure. Right. This is how the data centers are. They have a physical things, network, power sources, and everything. And see, these are all the Europe side: Frankfurt, Milan, Paris, London, Ireland, Spain, Stockholm, and everything is interconnected, by the way, guys. And interconnected in the sense they can be connected via the private connectivity. So if you have run application running in Singapore and you have application running somewhere in Frankfurt, you can let these two applications talk to each other on a private network, by the way. So it's a state of their own hardware details. Okay, and they're talking about the um, benefits of using a cloud and all. I'm just giving you this site. Whenever you get time, just have a look at it. They have very good information. For those who are new to the infrastructure concepts and all, it's worth reading once, guys. Like to understand better the concepts of what are this global infrastructure, what is a purpose and all. See, The global infrastructure is designed to build to deliver the most flexible, reliable, scalable, and secure cloud computing environment with the highest quality global network. Points of presence. We have availability zones. Like regions have availability zones. Availability zones have their own data centers, and they cache the site to the point of presence. And when users are accessing it, like the users, when the application is being accessed, they will be able to access the application via your point of presence. When you want to configure something, you can directly configure things on your availability zones. You can also interconnect your data centers to the Amazon regions, to the specific availability zones. Okay, that is also possible. Now that becomes a kind of extended data center. Okay, any questions so far, guys? Like as of now, there are 22 launch regions, 5 are being announced, 16 availability zones. 2 more region, like they're increasing it in the two rate of this, and they are spread across 245 countries, and 97 direct connect locations, and 216 point of presence. This is their existing global infrastructure footprint, guys. Any questions?
One question.
Shiva,
One by one,
That
guys.
the data center that we can add to
What is
AWS
the difference
is like
between direct connect and edge?
Sunil, I think there is a lot of delay in your voice.
the data center that can be added to the AWS is like renting to the AWS, or how it works. That thing is not clear a bit.
What is that?
Re-
I'm sorry.
regarding you said that we can add our data center to the AWS, right? So sir, in that case, like we can rent our things to the AWS, or like
No, when I say
is
your
it
data
for
centers, when I say your data center, your office location, usually your office is somewhere in Hyderabad, let's say, and you are using Amazon, which is in Mumbai. How the communication happens? The communication happens over internet, which is not secure, right? In that case, you can connect your two office. When I say data, say on-prem data, it's like nothing but your office location. So there we are going to configure VPN tunnel where the communication happens over a private network. That's the point here.
okay? That is for extra added security.
Yeah.
Okay.
so will there be a direct tunnel between, like direct VPN tunnel between the two
If you
availability
want,
zones?
yes, if you want, you can establish that. Availability zones are private. Okay. The communication by default them is private network only. Anything that is happening outside your AWS is public. And if you don't want to access over public network, you can define the tunnels, VPN tunnels.
I'm considering that suppose one availability zone is completely down and my application is meant to run on that availability zone. So is it possible to switch the availability zones to the different one?
After failures, nope. That has to be considered before the failure.
Okay, okay. So this is what you're telling 1A, 1B.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're
So,
running only one application, that is
mhm,
one instance of an application, one application in one instance. If that application, that the instance is down, it is down, right? You are actually having a single point of failure now. So in that case, if your availability zone is down where your application is running, it's down. So how do
mm.
we overcome this? Have the second one running in the other availability zone, so that if one fails at that point of time, you still have the second one running in other availability zone.
Okay, so that means that availability zone must be a different one from the India. First, for example, first one is Mumbai, and next one is North Virginia. So you're saying like first.
That's the region. That's the region.
Okay,
See, that's the reason I
okay.
showed you the picture, right? So these
Mm,
availability zones are completely isolated. If you take example of Mumbai, they are not in one single location. If you see, they are spread across the whole Mumbai.
mm, okay.
You're saying that if this one fails here,
Mm-hmm.
the other will still continue to run.
Okay.
So if this now the box that I draw has three availability zones. If I say Mumbai is down, in that case, availability zone 1, 2, and 3 are down.
Yes, yes.
In that case, you talk about the other region. Otherwise, you don't need other region at all, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's how they have set up.
So, okay, so in that case, if the whole Mumbai is down, then is it possible to get connectivity from the other region?
If it is down, it is down. Like, how can I
Okay.
access my application when it is down? So again, if that's your concept, then you should have planned for DR upfront before the failure happened.
Okay. So I mean to say there's a way we can overcome this. If whole region is
Yes.
down, then we can connect.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Hi, Shiva. The one question I had was like, what is the difference between direct contact locations and edge locations? Or like, sorry, direct contact and POP.
Where is direct contact?
I saw somewhere if you can scroll down.
See, POP is something that end users are accessing it.
Uh, yeah, you can scroll down. Direct locations, little bit up. Yeah, direct connect locations and point of presence.
See, that's what direct connect is like. Again, like I just told, right? You have your availability zones, Amazon regions. One is having a VPN tunnel. Again, where is this VPN tunnel happening? VPN tunnel is also happening over internet, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't want that internet connectivity as well. That means I want my organization, my on-prem office to be connected to Amazon over a dedicated connections via fiber channel connectivity. That is what we call direct connect.
Okay, but who provides this fiber channel connectivity? It is just the ISP, right?
ISPs, yes.
Okay.
Like whoever it is, like in India, we have Reliance is offering it, Tata Communication is offering it. You choose whichever best suits you, and they will do the rest of the things.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Any questions, guys? Also have this marked. I'm just sending you the links. Okay, you can open them, and if you want, you can bookmark them till you're comfortable and knowing where they are available and all. So that's all I have for today, guys. And tomorrow we'll start with account creation. Like we'll walk you through the AWS account creation, and one of you should be volunteering with me because I won't be able to create my account. So I'll walk you through the process, and by the end of that, everybody should have your accounts open. Then we'll get into the concept called EC2. Okay, so anything that we do now going forward, so we do it on regions and we use availability zones to host our infrastructure there. Okay, once you physically see how we are doing it, you'll understand it better. Okay.
Okay.
Shiva, usually in telecom, we call
Sunil, I lost you.
Yeah, usually in telecom we call CPE, right? Customer Premises Equipment. Like, where is the line between where it's a service provider's responsibility and on the other side it's a customer's responsibility? So where is that line when we actually speak about the cloud?
We'll talk about that. I have a session on that too.
Okay.
Okay. It's too early to
I think
discuss
that
those
was early.
things, but yes, I have that thing. We call it shared security responsibility model. Like Amazon as a cloud provider, they have certain responsibilities. We as a service taker, we have certain responsibilities. We'll talk about that.
Sure. Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Anything else, guys? We still have 2 minutes of time. Okay. I think if we don't have any questions now, so see you tomorrow, guys. And tomorrow we'll get started with account creation. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Shiva.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you,
Thanks, Shiva.
guys.
Yeah.
See you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.